Hey, what is going on? Welcome to this very special edition of the Sync Producer Spotlight. We are actually bringing on one of our previous guests, but this time we're going to be doing a tutorial and we're using an app called musesessions.com or .co. And we only have an hour on the session, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing the intro. Everybody here knows Michael Connor. It took us a minute to kind of figure out the setup here. So just bear with me while I share my screen and I bring him on. All right, let's go. And for those of you who are new to the Sync Producer Spotlight, it is, we're all part of the same community called the Sync Producer Hub. That's run by Anthony Clint Jr. So if you're somebody that's interested in getting your music into TV and film, check out the hub. It's in the description. Come be with us. Come learn all about it. We are all getting placements, and it's a very supportive community. So check it out. All right, so here we go. Let me share, and then I'm just going to do this. All right, I think we are good. Okay, in the chat, let us know if you can hear me and if you can hear Michael Connor as well.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2.
All right, let me bring up the chat. Let me find it here. All right, I see some Jared Hudson. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Hi,
Year.
Keith. Hi, Keith says Happy New Year. Brian Hawthorne, hey, and Happy New Year. All right. So the people that are here, let us know. Can you hear my voice and can you hear Michael's voice? Just give
1, 2.
Give a thumbs up. All of
Thumbs
that.
up.
I think we did it right. I just want to double.
I think we did it.
Well, I think so. I don't want to start and then you start giving these amazing lessons on how to create these live sounding strings. Because every time you come in the session, everybody compliments you on your strings and your guitar because it sounds like you hired live musicians to come into your place and create. Okay. Gabrielle Official says, yep, can hear loud and clear. All right. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, KJ. All right. Awesome.
Okay.
All right, Michael, the show is yours. Well, let's just double check and make sure everybody can hear you play something. So we make sure that audio is working as well, if you don't mind.
So this is... Oh, let's actually bring up a track. Let's do that.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Can everybody hear the strings? Okay. Pure Motif says it can hear us both. Allison Hawkins can hear us both, but let us know if you can hear those strings when he plays them real quick, just to make sure everything's working.
Actually, it's a good test because some of the samples take a while to load, so it's a good test, actually. Just make sure they're all loaded.
Heard. They hear it. Hi, Keith chimed in. All right. The stage is yours. Michael Connor,
all right.
Teach us how to make strings.
Welcome, everybody. Happy New Year to you all. So just going to quickly run through some slides and give you some information on how I make strings work for sync and for, transforming MIDI strings into a real life sounding mock-up. So going to kind of go through a couple of things, looking at, how to empower you to create realistic sounding MIDI mockups and expressive content for sync, which is what we do. This is what we are here to do, sticking to briefs, but also having fun whilst doing it as well. So using strings and the emotions that they can provide really help to tell the story, and that's what we're here to do, to provide a service, to provide, tell everybody a story, and to do that in the most expressive way that complements the dialogue and the on-screen action. So I'm just going to go through a couple of tone ranges, and also dive into some of the ranges of the strings, the sections, and also break down which sections play where, because sometimes you don't want things to sound unrealistic. You don't want the violins to sound, you're playing notes below G2 and nothing's happening because the sample doesn't go that far because the violin can't go that low. Conversely, with the cello, you don't want to be playing notes that's too high because, again, it's going to sound either scratchy or be in a range that the cello can't play. So we'll look at some of those concepts and make sure that we grasp those, because that's really helps to shape sound and also create a realistic sound as well. So I'm going to start off with the panning. So in a traditional orchestral sense. I'm going to start off with the symphonics sound, which is the larger sound which we use. This is perfect for cinematic trailers and those sorts of sounds and concepts. And so, as you can see on the screen, I hope if you need it a bit bigger, let me know. I can probably drag this a little bit bigger so you can see it more. But technically, what you have is the violin. There's violin, then there's violoncello, violas, and double basses. And so they're split into different configurations. And in a typical orchestral setting, on the screen you can see where they're sat. So this section here is the first violin. So that, I don't know if you can see that clearly where the dividing line is, but in this configuration, we've got four at the back. So you've got 4, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 in this diagram. Typical sizes can range from, in a symphonic setting, you can have up to 18 violins. That's a traditional size. And then you have the second violins. Usually they're about 14 players. And in violas, you have 12, cellos, 10, and basses, 8. And so this is where they sit. So you've got the violins are typically positioned on the left, creating a nice, rich sound palette. And then the second violins are tucked just next to them, slightly more forward. The first violins, as you can see, go all the way back towards even next to the harp and near the piano. So when you're looking at panning and placing your strings, it's important to kind of get an idea and a concept of how far the sound reaches. And so using reverbs can help to place, your instruments in a place that is realistic. So then you've got the second violins. Then next to them you have your your violas, and then next to them you have your violoncellos, and then behind them usually are the basses. They sit in the far right and ducked behind the cellos, and then you can see where the other instruments in the orchestra sit. So, in terms of the brass, which we use quite a lot for sports and anthemic sounds, you can see the placement. This is actually quite a good layout diagram to kind of give you an idea of placements, where you have your strings tucked more to the front, and then by using, panning and placement, you can also move the brass around as well. So back to this section sizes. So how long is a piece of string? So, you can have, quartets, you have chamber strings, you can have a symphonic sound and a larger kind of symphonic sound. And this kind of gives you the breakdown of how many string players per section that you have. So I have a chamber session loaded at the moment. So this is more along the 86443 sound. And it would sound like this. In fact, I'll bring the Cordy app up slightly. Where did it go? There we go. So you can sort of see what I'm playing. Sample needs to load. So that's really, I'm playing, I got a C sharp. So that lowest note is going to be your basses. Your cellos would come in on the fifth, and I've got sort of a viola with second violin here playing the third, and then the C sharp would be the violins taking the melody. So playing strings live is quite hard to do because you only got 10 fingers, but in terms of the voicings, you don't want to stretch. You can only stretch so far. So it's a challenge, but you can actually, in a live setting, create some quite realistic sounding passages. And I do this at church actually. But back to the sizes and the range actually. So what I want to do is I'm going to bring up if I bring up this screen here, this is the chamber violins from Spitfire Audio. And I use the Complete Control plugin, and so what you should be able to see, change the view quickly, right, to the edit view. Okay, so you can see here the blue light highlighted keys. Now this is showing me now, conversely, if I show you on my keyboard, which is really cool, this is a shout out to Native Instruments. As you can see, it has I have some blue lights here which show me can't see, where the range starts and where it ends, and so that's pretty useful to have. And we'll touch on the controller side as well, the additional controls in a while. But I just want to kind of touch on the ranges. Camera, get back in place. There we go. So for the violins, they'll start from G2. That's the lowest note, and the highest note will be actually D. I think that's D5 or D6. So you can hear you should be able to hear them pan to the left. In this configuration, I've just got the close mics, which mics the session or the section where it's sat. So as per the diagram, this is panned to the left. So you're hearing the violins. Etc. So you're hearing that pan to the left. And going down now, if I move down to the seconds, they are also in the similar spot. Apologies, I don't have the view up for all of them. Let's quickly adjust that. Yeah, so the second violins, again, same range as the first violins. They'll do counter melodies and sometimes support the melodies as well. So you'll have them panned slightly further in, and so they're also providing melody support there. And you've got the violas, which, as you can see, go down. The violas, honestly, I think are actually one of my favorite string instruments. If anyone was to ask me which one provides the most tone and versatility, I'd say it's the viola, because they provide that sort of baritone tenor range. They can go down as low as a C2, but then also move further up and support higher melodies. So they can go up to a C5 and up to actually the highest note would be a F5. So a real nice range, and the tone is slightly different between a second violin, as you can hear, and then now the violas. It just has a bit more tone to it, a bit more dynamics. So,
You mind if I ask you a quick question?
Sure, go ahead.
Like, in the Spitfire, they have the free version of Strings 2, right? And Strings that you can just get for free. And I've noticed that the basses and the lower notes are automatically panned to the right, and the violins are panned to the left. Are you actually manually panning these, or is it just panned for you where it sits in the orchestra?
It's panned for you with the chamber strings, the Albion one, the studio strings, most of their flagship ranges. The string sections are panned where they normally are. So that's on the close mics. The tree mics will be more of a stage sound. Then you've got your ambient mics and your outriggers, which are more gallery set. And I'll come on to those in a while as well. But I love the fact that the panning is taken care of for you, because that, it makes it more realistic. But you did mention the the Discover sound. So I'll just bring that up and just play that in. And so that sounds...
Yeah, I was talking about another free one, but yeah, Discover's
okay.
The new free one. I think, Allison, it might have been you that gave everybody that heads up. Somebody, I can't remember who it was.
I think it was Allison, and I think it was the Spitfire Symphony Orchestra Discover.
Yeah.
So they have their
they've recorded. It was Allison, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They've recorded several different orchestras. So you've got the BBC Symphonic Orchestra, which was recorded at Abbey Road. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of been their flagship for a while, but their own sort of in-house Spitfire Audio Symphonic Orchestra is a slightly different group, and they've recorded it slightly different space as well, and they recorded at Air Studios in London. But this would be the basis of the Spitfire Symphony Orchestra, and so this is just a free version. So you do get some different. So you only get the long notes in the Discover. Let's initialize that. So you get that. So again, you do get control over the mod wheel for your dynamics. I think there's expression as well in this. Yeah, so you get expression, and I believe you get vibrato as well. So this is a really, really great control in terms of articulation. So you can hear non-vibrato, and then the vibrato kind of really exaggerates the sound, accentuates it. The technique that the boa is, or the player is using, I haven't got a violin in my hand, but essentially, if you have a violin, um, you hold the bow in one hand and the fretboard in the other. And so what you do is, with the vibrato, the finger is pretty still and the bow does all of the action. And then as you change from non-vibrato to vibrato, the player is actually just using their fingers, similar to a guitarist would be on a fretboard, and making the sound more of a tremolo sound. So that's the kind of the concept on how that looks like. How it sounds like in a demonstration on, let's say, the chamber strings, you have, oh, there we go. So that would look like, it says tremolo. The tremolo would be the converse. So that would be the the fretboard finger would be fairly still, and the bow action is doing this. So it's creating that tension. So that sounds like this. And we use that a lot in like tension cues. Jason, I know you've used that. That's definitely a go-to for like tension, and really creates that that drama that a scene may require. One thing that I want to show and highlight is, I'm going to bring up another patch here. If you have if you have Contact, what you can do is you can add two sounds together. And where is my I don't think I have it in this version of Contact. No, I have to go into the other one if I still have that version. Hold on a second. Apologize. Contact. No, I don't have Contact. Where is it? Oh yes, I do have it. Okay, so you can combine sounds together. So using crossfades, and if I go to this right view, I think I have it in here. Nope. Where is it gone? Basically, I'll try and describe it. But what you can do is you can crossfade two sounds together. So you can go from a non-vibrato to a vibrato to a tremolo, by adding two sounds together and crossfading it. That was the one sound I forgot to load up. I'll see if I can find it whilst we're continuing. But remind me to come back to that, because that's an important technique, which string players will often do. Passages will have the tension fairly smooth, and then they'll go into a tremolo motion and then come out of it as well. And so not many sounds have that functionality to do it, but you can actually create that using the full version of Contact. The Contact player, you can't crossfade and go into the editing mode, and that's where that sound comes from. But if I do find that sound, I will bring that one up. Okay, so any questions so far? People are.
I don't see any questions that I didn't ask or that you didn't answer so far. Are you going to
Okay.
share the slide deck in the hub?
Yes, I will. Yeah, I'll
All
put
right,
this
cool.
as a PDF and send this out.
Awesome.
This particular slide just interested me because this was the panning and the seating arrangement for. This was done by Tim Davis, who composed the Disney 100 logo sound, and as you can see, it was done in 2022. So here he's got the violin ones. So you've got the seated positions. So it's 1 to 10. So you've got 10 first violins. Sorry, 12. It goes on to the other side. Then you've got the yellows, which is the violin twos. You've got your violas here. You've got your cellos here, and your four basses. So you've got them stacked across. So again, where they sit is down to composer's taste. You can have them panned slightly more central to kind of give a more rounder sound. The panning, that's configurable. You can do that in Logic. if I was to say, so here's my basses. What I can do is, this is a cool trick in Logic. If you control click and change, instead of just doing this, the balance, go to the stereo pan, and it will create like a width. So then I can change that sound, and I can move that. Oops, let's go back to it. Okay, so I can then change the scope of it when it wants to work. This is one of those tricks in Logic, which, there we go. So I can change how wide the basses sound. I can narrow them, as you can hear. And now I can move that narrow field to the left, so you can hear it panning and coming round. And I can make it so that you can make it how wide you want. So in that diagram, I'd probably make that slightly wider and have them slightly more central there. So yeah, so that kind of gives you that sound. Yeah, so that's in terms of panning and where they sit. And we kind of touched on tremolo, which again adds tension and shimmer to string performances and creating a sense of urgency or excitement. And this articulation is essential for emphasizing the emotional climaxes within a piece. And so you'll often hear a line that will finish in a tremolo. It will go from non-vibrato to vibrato, and then the tremolo will come in, that big climax at the end. So that's one articulation which is certainly very, very popular in music across the board. Legato, portamento. So with legato strings, what you'll find is that they will. What are things there? Okay. I'll just bring up the plugin here. With legato strings, obviously it's just playing one note at a time. So if I try and play a chord, it's not going to work because it's basically one note at a time. This particular chamber strings, the legato session here, they have 5 different legato patches all blended into one. So there's an engine which automatically detects how fast you're playing, and so it will switch between the different articulations or legato articulations. So if I'm playing a slow passage, so by changing if I play the first note, the second note slightly, you get the portamento, the slide from one note to the other. And then if I play a particular fast passage, you get the runs and the fast articulation. And that's really, really good for creating those runs and those transitions. Anthony Jr. did a great session on using sounds in terms of transitions from one part to another. Runs can also help, and can work alongside a transitional sound and the sound effect to take you from one section to another in a track. That's something I like to do a lot. And so harps do that quite a lot, but also strings, you'll find that requires a lot of good finger, your scale work to be on point. So that kind of action, and that's where your scale work really comes into that. So yeah, that covers that. So, and then non-vibrato, which is the tone where the violin starts off just, again, the action is just straight, and then you can increase that. Oops, actually no, this is not working on that one. Okay, I'm gonna try that again. So, and you can see that control here, the vibrato is on this controller. You can set your own, MIDI controllers to be what you want them to be. So I have that C21. So you can hear it's very, very straight. And then as I increase it, You can hear the vibrato come in. Etc. And that's kind of how you use controllers and starting to bring in different characters of the sound to make a more realistic performance.
I noticed the portamento only goes up. Can you make it go down? Can you slide down to other notes?
Yes,
Just
you can.
curious.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you can.
Ah, okay.
Yes, yeah, it works both ways. Good point. So, sometimes we always think of the going up, but it can, obviously work going back down the other way. So yeah.
You're gonna have the whole hub speaking Italian by the end of this.
Yes, portamento. I feel like having pizza or pasta for some reason. I don't know why. So speaking of which, I'll go to there is I think actually no, it's coming up. Yeah, here we are. The next slide. So flat Duolingo for all those Duolingo folks in the house. So flautando basically means like a flute. And the way that it's played, I've got a video demonstration. The bow is very, very light and very airy. And I'll just bring this up here because it should be. Where did you go? Come back here. Where did you go? Okay. Right. So this should be. I'll just cue it to the point I'm talking about.
If you did, it might be a bit much. So you have to be a bit. Embrace the grit. It's okay. If there's a whole orchestra, you have to go up there and really feel that grit. Embrace the grit. It's okay. If there's a whole orchestra full of you, you probably wouldn't need to make such an effort to go quite so close. If you did, it might be a bit much. So you have to be a bit aware of who you're around when you do Ponticello. Sultasto, Joe. Obviously, we're down over the fingerboard for Sultasto. What's the difference in sound between that and Ponticello?
So Ponticello, what you hear is all the little high frequencies exploiting those sort of really edgy sounds. Sultasto down here with a light bow, because here we can put a lot of pressure. Here, if we put pressure, that's
Nice.
not sultasto. We don't want that sound. So you have to use a light bow, just because the tension of the string here is much less. It's much tighter here. So we have to use a light bow. And that brings out the low overtones and the low sort of sonority of the sound, and that will be, used as in your color palette.
Yeah, it's a special effect.
It's a special effect, and there's a very similar one called flautando, which means flute-like.
I like to think of sort of South American rainforest panpipes.
Ah,
yes,
So the difference between they're both played in basically the same spot, aren't they? Flautando and sultasto. The difference being if you use a really fast bow and a really light bow for flautando, we go. Yeah, you can hear it sounds like a flute. So
Yes, very good to do one of these afterwards as well.
Oh, can I try?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely. Flautando.
Okay, and so what that sounds like in real life, one of my favorite plugins is the Intimate Strings by Spitfire. This is a really, really affordable. I think it's like £29 or dollars, whichever your local currency is. It doesn't have the vibrato control, but it does have. It's recorded in a 4-3-3 configuration. So you've got 4 violins, 4 firsts, 3 seconds, violas, and cellos. And the long flautando, I'll just bring this up with the close mic, and I'll keep the tree mic in. And this is where, for that tension, it really does provide a great texture. So you can have it. Let's use the mod wheel. a great sound, in terms of a pad. So just that texture alone, it's just such a great way to just underscore. You can just put that in any track and just let it just sit there and breathe. And I think just the reverb just gone. The reverb is just 25%, actually 20%. You can add more to it, but it doesn't move a lot. It's just great for those close sounding sustained chords. So just
You're
like
getting my
in terms of
$29.
yeah, it's just those suspended chords. Let's just bring up the. Oh, sorry.
And Rich Rosen does have a question when you have a moment.
Sure, go ahead. Let's.
He just wants to know, the portamento that we were doing earlier. Is that a
Yes.
turn off, turn on type of feature, or is it like you hold one note and then you just, you know what I mean?
Yes. So with the portamento, you don't have to trigger it all the time. It can be. Let's use a cello. So there's certain ways with that. I'll kind of let's see if I can show you what it looks like. So with the okay, so and then if I press the second note, lightly,
yeah. That's what I thought it was. Like if you hold the note you're moving from a little longer and then hit what you're moving to, it'll slide between.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can see that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, basically that's how it works. We'll have a second camera for the next session for sure to kind of cover all the bases. So that's flautando. There is consordino. This is another lovely sounding articulation. So the string players, they have a mute, and consordino is Italian for with a mute. I remembered I knew this because of chili con carne, which is chili with beef. The con is Italian with, so that's how I'm like, wait a second.
Before you do the con sordino presentation or demonstration, High Keef wants to know if that's Indy's theme. I don't even know.
Yes, it was. Yeah, okay. yeah. It was. yeah.
All right. Yep. Somebody caught that.
Don't caught that. Yeah. This is also why I don't listen to a lot of music actually, because composition-wise, I will hear something and then I remember it, play it, and think it's mine, and then I realize, like, dang it, it's someone else's. So that's another
like Ribbon in the Sky and their elevator music.
That one wasn't actually Ribbon in the Sky, but it did sound close. I could hear the reference. It was. So consordina, and I'll go back to the let's go back to the intimate strings. So they have a lovely consordina patch, and so the strings texture is more darker. So very, very darker. It's slightly brighter, but slightly darker than the longs. So the traditional long sound would sound like this. there's the concertinas. As you can hear, the difference sounds a little bit more, it's a bit more brighter, but has that great sound to it. That's one of the features of having a detailed string library that has these elements to it. Just really brings out the characters. And this is not any shame on any other libraries, because I mean, we know that things like session strings, I've been using that. I know it gets the job done, and in this game it definitely it's about getting the job done. So this is
real quick. Jason Rebels was saying, "Wow, that was rich and beautiful." And then this is not a Spitfire commercial, and we do not have any affiliate links or anything like that. But I'm going to post a link to this to the Spitfire, the intimate strings, at least the $29 ones. KJ was asking about it. All right. Well, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. This is session strings. So this is the sustain. So I can still. It's like a chamber sound. But the good thing with the chamber is that you can actually switch the articulation by using the velocity slider here. So I've got the main set up as a sustain. If I change the velocity up, you get the crescendo, so you can get some more realistic sounding. So you get that kind of sound, which is really actually quite detailed and quite. Let's bring the velocity down a bit more so I can trigger it. All right, so you get it. So even in a more affordable string section like Session Strings 2 or Session Strings 2 Pro, you have a lot more articulations that you can switch in between. And here's it. So here's the sustain and then the tremolo. So great way to kind of mix sounds together.
So it's like the lower the velocity, it's sustain, and the higher the velocity, it turns to tremolo?
Yes, okay. And then you can change that however much. So if you want it only to be tremolo, when you're really playing hard, you can, because the sustains has a nice, texture in terms of the velocities, and then you only want to,
That's awesome.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Rich Rosen said, Masa Spitfire chips. Sorry, I had to shout that one out.
We had to. Masa have gotten so much business from us, I'm telling you. If we don't get some kickback from them or Spitfire, we really need to do something. So that sort of section covered, matching articulations. And so you have sustains, you can have, tremolos going at the same time, overlaying, to kind of bring again the same emotions and bring out different emotions. You might have a pits, in the basses, carrying a more, not necessarily rhythmic pattern, but, certainly I find with the pits, just kind of gives you that sort of pulse. And then at the top, you might have the, that kind of texture. So again, overlaying velocities, overlaying articulations, again, it's going to help to bring out the tones. I talked a bit about the mod wheel, which I have here using on my controller here, and I also use on my extreme contact complete control. I have the if you can see, I have my dynamics set to the mod wheel. I have the vibrato, which at the moment I only have some knobs which I use to get the vibrato going. Let's bring back in the longs again. But on the extreme, I keep saying extreme. I'm thinking of my old keyboard, the Korg Extreme. But on the complete control, you have a ribbon which I use for expression. I'm not gonna be able to do this. I only have two hands, but you can see there's the slider there. But I can use that to, if I actually, oh, you can use the sustain pedal, so you can see that's what that looks like there. And again, here's the knobs which I use for vibrato. Can't see. There we go. And that's what helps to make those passages sound realistic. So controllers, again, for all those with gas, and I have it too, things like the Korg Nano Control, the nuances, sliders, there's the nanogram modular setup, which is really, really good. That's one I would love to have, because you can configure those sliders to do other things as well. And not just in audio, you can use them for graphics and other applications as well. And then there's a nano control, which also has the sliders. So basically you want to have yourself set up with a way to be able to, control and change the sound of your passages to make them more realistic in real time as you play them. So the more sliders you have, the more you can do in real time. I tend to go in afterwards and edit them. So I'll play a passage, then add in vibrato, which I'll go and show you quickly because time is moving along.
Hey, real quick, Michael.
Yes, sir.
Real quick. Your mom says you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you, Mum. Okay, well, thank you, Mum. I did mention it to her, and she's one of my biggest fans. And funny enough,
and Rich Rosen wants to know if those articulation transitions that you were just showing, they're, I guess, based on velocity. Is there a way you can automate it in Logic or in other DAWs?
Just about to show you that.
All right, perfect. All right.
And
good segue.
Good segue. So, and Mum, this is timely because with orchestral music and my background in classical and gospel, had the untimely passing of Richard Smallwood. He was a pioneer in fusing gospel and classical. He was just a master instrumentalist, composer. And so he wrote a song which was in the Preacher's Wife called I Love the Lord, which my mum actually was one of her songs that she used to lead when we used to sing in the choir back at home in England. And so the version of The Preacher's Wife on the soundtrack has a beautiful string ending to it. And this, I'll play it in the chamber strings. So this is what it sounds like here. And so I'll just let it play. You can see. Here's notation. There you go. And so if I split that out, so that's the chamber ensemblers playing that particular passage. Now, what I've done is, Mum will recognize this Blue Peter fashion. There's an old show, Blue Peter, and they're always showing you how to make something. And it's like, here's what I did earlier to save time. And so what I've done is I've split the same passage out into the different sections. So I've got first, seconds, violas, cellos, and basses. And so that sounds like this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to group them together. And in Logic, and I guess you can do this in other DAWs as well, you can create folder stacks. And what happens is with folder stacks, you can use the same controller to control all of the instruments in that same stack. So if I just call this strings, what I can now do is I can play this passage. Now I can change the vibrato for everything at the same time. And also Same thing with the dynamics as well.
And you're using your
And
mod
so
wheel?
I'm using my mod wheel, and I was using the vibrato as well.
Okay.
And so yeah, so that's a way that you can quickly, you do your passages in an ensembler patch, get all your ideas down, split them out into the different voicings, and you can hear the panning, and then you can apply, the panning and the expression vibrato in real time to all of the sections. It sometimes doesn't always sound as realistic because not everybody in orchestra is going to go to vibrato at exactly the same time, but it does help and give you a nice let's bring that back. That sort of thing. So that's kind of that example. One quick demonstration how it sounds. You can again layer in together. If I bring in the symphonic longs, I've also done the same passage with the symphony sound. That sounds a bit more brighter. You can hear the symphonic really taking over and giving it a much bigger sound. That's the chamber by themselves, and here's the symphonic. And you can adjust your layers. This is the symphonic, bringing in the chamber, and then on top of that, what we can also do is, I'll just do this one more time. I'll play in a solo violin just with the symphonics, just so you can hear the character. Okay, so there's my solo violin, and I'm going to take the vibrato down a little bit, and I'm going to play it in with the symphonic so you can hear the character. That's another way to add that character to a particular piece.
I know we're running short on time, but we do have one question.
Go for it.
Long Music. So you layered the chamber strings with the symphonic orchestra and the solo violin.
In that one, I just did the symphonic longs and the solo. I muted the chamber. Yeah, you can mix them in. Again, it just gives you a bit more detailed sound to the whole section. So another way to cheat that would be if you've got, say, in a symphonic section, if you've got, say, 18 violins playing first violins, what you can do with the chamber strings, you can actually just bring up a chamber long patch, because the divisi is in 4. So if you play 3 notes, you've got 12 players basically. So you can use one sound playing multiple notes to thicken the sound up and make it sound a lot bigger. But with the solo violins, what that does, it helps to make a bigger sound more intimate by bringing out the detail of the leader. So each section would have its own individual leader. So there'd be like a first chair position in the first violins, the second violins, the violas, cellos, and the basses. Just more of a focus microphone on that particular player, so you just get more the richness of the whole sound, but focused on one player. So that's that. I'm just going to bring up quickly. I do want to go over this. I think the music. Oh, go ahead. Okay. It might do. I have the boost, and it might go longer. So we'll see how it goes. If it cuts, brilliant. If it doesn't, then yeah, we should be okay. But
Okay.
yeah, send me the link if it does cut.
Okay. And I was just
I'll
muted
do-
when I said that. So I was telling everybody, I was like, the app that we're on might shut down unexpectedly on us. So what I'm gonna do, Michael, just so you know, if that happens,
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you a link to the restream so you can join there and we can wrap it up there
Okay.
if
sounds
it
good.
happens. All right, cool. That's all.
If it happens. Okay. So I wanted to cover. So we've done the practical, looked at the articulation, expression, and this particular track, I want to focus on it. So the song's called "Our Love Is Real." It's by Reggie Parker. For those of you from the '90s gospel area who remember the Love Fellowship Crusade Choir of Hezekiah Walker, Reggie was the bass player and wrote some of the iconic bass lines and things like tracks like How Much We Can Bear, etc. So I was fortunate to work with him on a few projects, and so he asked me to do a track, some string arrangements on this track. So this is the version that I had at the time. So this is without the strings. Okay, and then it comes in with the verse. So the brief was have fun, and whatever you need to do, go ahead and do it. I'm like, okay. So it's where sometimes having notes in the brief really help. One of the things I love is highlighting the melody. So this was my take on the intro part. I'll go back and play that. So. I'll turn it down. Yeah. So just a nice way to highlight, play in the gaps, and highlight the chords, using the range of the instruments to, create a more of a chordal section. And one of my favorite things to do is things like trills. So actually,
Everybody was saying that's just terrible what you just played, and
it's just
awful,
I'm
and you need
I'm
to
so
practice,
sorry.
and you need to go back to the drawing board. No, I'm kidding. Rich does have some questions before the end of the session, and if we have to join back on Restream, I'll make sure we ask those.
Okay.
All right.
So I'll play the chorus section, and then I'll go to the intro, to the outro as well. So this chorus. I'm kind of just mixing the track and the strings. Yeah, so there, the trills. And then this section now. Okay. I just had to pause that section there because Reggie did say there was a D note that he wanted to make sure that I captured, and it was this section here. So there, I just made sure just played along with his bass note to make sure that I captured it. Highlighting the melody again. Then we're going into the bridge. Nice run here. Some trills. Coming out. Yeah. That's used actually. Not have that one there. I'm just wondering, this outro section that I said about mixing this trill, smoothing out, that's where we did the crossfade. And then let's skip forward. Again, picking your spots to come in and out is also a great way to tell a story. Yeah, I'm going to play the whole time, right? So, reintroduce again. Outro. That is actually my favorite part of the track, and I'm gonna play that part again because I'll play it just.
Everybody's saying it just sounds like AI. I don't know.
It sounds like AI.
No, I'm kidding.
Count my fingers. I have an extra 6th finger. That's so this outro section. Just with the so you got the melody there. So adding it with, let's do that again. So and then again using dynamics to fade out. Vibrato comes off and then finishes. So that's probably, I think this is one of my proudest pieces of string arrangement I've done, just in terms of the different articulations that are happening, as I mentioned with the trills. And so that effect is achieved when you have. So I think this is the. Yeah.
All right.
So this is.
Since we're on the subject of trills, I'm going to knock out one of. Rich has like 5 questions in here. So since we're on the subject, he wants to ask: is a trill more of a deliberate played oscillation between 2 notes, whereas tremolo is just an effect while holding a single note?
Yes. Good question. So a tremolo would be a single note. That's the boas doing this. A trill is more of a single bow, but it's 2 notes, and so the interval is going to be. It can be a minor third. This section here is a minor third. I can change it to a minor second. I call it a semitone or a major third. All right. So by combining minor thirds, you get 4 notes at the same time. So you can almost get a chord by just playing 2 notes. So I've got C and E flat and F and G sharp, not A flat, and together that gives me A flat 6. So that's kind of what I did there. So I was like, how can I combine? I want to get the effect of the trill, but I want multiple notes. So I thought, let's make a chord from a trill. And so that's what's happening in that section here. So you've got there.
All right. Can I ask this next question?
Sure.
I'm going backwards to the beginning here. So he asks if you have a certain technique for separating out played chords into separate parts. And I think what he means is like, you know how you were playing like an ensemble string and then you broke it out into violins, violas, and all that, like voicings, I guess.
Yes. Sometimes I'll do it. I'll hear the big picture and I'll be able to play it like line by line. I'll do the viola, the legatos first, or the first, and then do the harmonies along with it. Other times I'm hearing more of a chord, and so I'll do the chord first and then split it out into the voice. So it just depends from passage to passage. If it's a more lyrical piece, I would probably do it individually. So I normally start with the basses because I know what the basses are doing and the cellos, and then add in the counterpart harmonies in between that. So let's see. Have I got
and when in doubt, use a viola because it has a high and low range.
Exactly.
So you don't run out of range on accident. I've done that before.
Exactly that. So that's what I tend to do on that front. I was going to do the live session, actually, see if I can get some work on your track, but we may. I don't know if we can maybe start it.
It's already been an hour. I don't think we're going to get to that.
Okay.
Do you mind fielding more questions? Or you're showing how you're voicing things now, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I hope that answered the question in terms of the voicings. I probably should bring up the other. Let's bring up the other.
Well, his very first question was voicing suggestions between instruments, tighter bass cello versus spread out voices. Is how it's phrased.
Okay.
So it's kind of on the same path.
I'm going to go. Yeah, I'll go back to this. To this section here. Actually, it's going to take a while to load because there's so many plugins loaded, and so I mean the chamber ensemble. You think of it, it's all of the sections and quite a few articulations just in one patch. I mean, this is like, as you can see, the memory count is going up. This is probably like 1.5 gigs of RAM just on that section. But I'll wait till that one loads up. But in the meantime, I'll use the intimate. Intimate. There we go. So, cellos and basses. I would say you probably can see the notes here. I'll bring up the Chordy app as well, so you can doubly see it. So you've got a tension sort of patch. That sort of sound. So the cellos, the basses are holding the root, and then you've got a minor third, an octave higher. So that's my cellos there, and then the violas would come in here to add that kind of melody. That kind of lift, so that's where in that range that's where that I would put that sort of voice in terms of a minor. So you got your root and then your third, major third or your minor third. And then violas would be sort of here, seconds, and then straight to my hands, and then your first, right? So you've got 5 notes there that kind of cover the span. As I said, playing this live is a lot more challenging because the fingers and the spread. Does that answer the question, Rich? Let me know.
I don't see him responding. There is one question. So curious what plugins, reverb, compression, etc. you're running the string patches through. I don't think you're running. They have their own built-in, right?
This one has its own built-in. Good question, and I did want to touch on this.
That's from J Long Music.
Excellent. Appreciate that, because with the chamber strings, let's see if they've loaded up. What you find is the mic positions. So I've taken off. Let's take the tree mic out. So I'm literally just playing the close mic mix. So you should hear violins, and as you go down the scale, you hear the sound moving down to the ranges. And so that's just a tree mic. This is recorded in Air Studios. Now Spitfire, again, they should be paying us for this. They have a fantastic, where is it? Let's turn it on. This is a reverb, which is called the Air Studios reverb. So this is the hall Hans Zimmer's recorded in this hall, many other composers, and they've encapsulated the reverb positions and the impulse responses from 8 different positions in the room, and you can see them dotted around. It's crazy. So these are the tree mics. So this would be the equivalent of having the tree mics switched on here. So where they switched off here, you can have them on in the reverb. So what you can do is, if I just say I want to turn off the reverb on the tree mics, I want to use the ambient mics, and I want to use the gallery mics. So you see the gallery mics here are positioned in the gallery. And so you can now blend in the mix and using your pre-fader or post-fader on your bus mix. Just to make this a bit smaller so I can see it. There we go. So if I set a bus, bus 4, and then if I like to change it to pre-fader so I can have independent control. So I change that to pre-fader. Now what I can do is I can increase the amount of reverb. And you should be able to hear that. So you can see that there's the whole reverb coming in there. If I solo that by itself, it sounds like this. And I bring this back in. This is the direct signal. But I can have the reverb here set, and then you can change, things like the width, the pre-delay, the output. As I said, there's 8 mics. It takes a lot of system resources. You can change the canopy height and also the material. They have a Melitech and a wood one, so it gives you more reverberations, and it all helps to shape the sound of your reverb. Etc. So you can move the source of the sound as well. So in this instance, it's coming from the dot, and I can change how far back it goes, how far up it goes, and also how far left and right. So you can really shape the sound and the source of the reverb. So if you want it to sound more up in the ceiling, you can change it. It really, that needs a session by itself. But what I do love about that is with reverbs that don't, or with string plugins that don't have as much reverb control, you can just apply this to any sound that you have. So if I use, say, let's go to session strings, because I haven't used that for a while. So if I bring that one up quickly, and then if I bring in a bus here, send that to bus 3, +4, sorry. Send it up. So now you can hear reverb off. Great reverb plugins. So that's the benefit of having a great reverb with a close sound in mic signal. But as I said, one thing I did want to highlight actually before we go, if you're just using stock plugins, just need to get the job done. I found this yesterday in this in the sampler, the strings. If you go to orchestral, if you search on the panel under strings, under modern strings, Spitfire Logic, what they've done is they have given you some articulations, and there's a key switch which I think is triggered from just below. This is E1 or E0. So you've got the halftone trills that we're talking about: tremolo, pizzicato, staccato, and then you've got what else have you got? Legato. Yeah. So that's all within the one patch in stock plugin. And again, you can configure that and add reverb to that if you want to. Change it to +4 and make it sound a bit more authentic. So let's add in those. Let's make that the staccato. So if I take it off and then add it back in again. So again, just using stock with a decent reverb, you can get the job done quite comfortably. So I think that's kind of everything I wanted to cover. We're going to do a live arrangement, but we'll do that for another time. And so in basically in closing, with strings, be creative. We often have briefs that we need to follow, but be expressive. It's your right. That's what makes you stand out as a composer and a producer. So in your creating, just encouragement to be creative, be expressive, be emotive, stay on brief, but have fun. So there you go.
Awesome. You mean like the chord Triton just doesn't do it anymore?
No, unfortunately. And I had one of those as well. It did it for a while, but after a while, all the tools that you need.
All right. Lot of people are saying, and it's Josh Long. I was saying J Long Music because I can only see your usernames in YouTube. So if I don't know your name, I know Pay the Producer, I know that's Aaron Island. I just happen to know some people's usernames, and but everybody here, Rich Rosen is. He hopes there's another time where maybe you'll show us more. So if you're open to that, that would be great.
Definitely.
A lot of thank you, Michaels. Your mom still says you did a great job. No, she's not writing that, but I'm sure she's very proud of you for doing a good job.
Thank you, Mom.
I learned a lot. I use FL Studio, so I use a different DAW, but I'm going to take these things and apply it because it just goes from DAW to DAW, right? Like
it does.
All of these concepts. I had no idea this much attention to detail and work went into creating these plugins, right? And how powerful they can be.
Exactly.
I've been using about 2% of what they can do. So this is exciting.
Dive under the hood. There's a lot in there. Go explore. It definitely is worth it.
Real quick, if you're somebody that's watching this on YouTube and you're not in the Sync Producer Hub, there is a link in the description. Come check us out if you want to get your music into TV and film. So not only can you learn how to pitch to music libraries, how to reach out to music supervisors, how to get your playlist ready, how to format your music, all of that, right? You can also learn how to master your strings in your DAW. So, we'll throw this in the course curriculum. Maybe we'll talk to Clint and see if he wants to throw that in there as well.
Yeah.
And if you're open to more sessions, I think everybody here would love to hear more from you.
Absolutely. I have to do a live session because that's where the fun is, creating and having a brief that we can work to and just, creating a real life situation. So let's do that soon.
Any parting words for us?
No, not really. Just thanks for everyone for your support. This is something I love doing. I've been doing this since like 2005. But it's just let the music, take you and just evolve, just emote basically. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming to this. Go emote. Get out there and start emoting more. I want to thank you for your time, and we will see you in the next session, and we're going to learn a lot.
Definitely.
All right.